up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Again, trying not to run over any kids in the yard or outside the yard. Anyways, since Furious Pete put up his video about his dog Furious and it had an injury to his leg and needed to have an expensive surgery, there's been a very coming together of the fitness community in the YouTube, as well as some, people talking a lot, saying that he shouldn't have put up a fundraiser, etc., for his dog. And, it really hit home with me pretty hard, when he was talking about Furious, and you could see the emotion in his face. And that's where story time is going to start today. Story time, I've told you guys already about Lucky, who was my English Bulldog, the first one who passed away. I actually made the video twice and didn't know it. You guys know about Bruno. He's in a bunch of my videos and stuff. We have a cat named Ed, and Ginger just made a special appearance, who was our other cat. And I had or Kari and I, until I guess January, it was a year, we had a Brussels Griffon, which is that little tiny dog. Here's where story time starts. That little tiny dog from the movie As Good as It Gets, with Jack Nicholson in it. Greg Kinnear, who was his neighbor, had the little dog. I think his name was Purdell or something like that. It's a little 6-7 pound dog. He was a little runt. And Nikko actually means little one in Portuguese. Now Nikko's 15 when he passed away. I got Nikko for an ex-girlfriend. I had Lucky, the bulldog, and Lucky didn't really like my ex very much. So her thing was, she's like, I want a dog, and I want the one from As Good as It Gets if we can find one. Just happened to find a breeder one town over, and these dogs were super expensive and super hard to find. They were not a normal breed that you could find somewhere. You definitely couldn't really adopt them. I mean, they were something you'd have to have, special ordered by a breeder and wait for the litters and stuff. Go ahead, lady. And, one town over in Barrington, there was a breeder. So we went over there and picked him out. He was this little puffball. I could do this. He was like the size of a tennis ball. He was so small. And they had 3 or 4 other ones. And interesting enough, my buddy Steve Reeves, who owns Hot Beverage Nutrition, him and his wife actually got Nikko's brother, Buddy. So he had, they had Buddy and we had Nikko, and then Nikko's sister went with Steve's sister. So like all of us had, pretty much the litter. So Nikko was, the Brussels Griffon was used by, I believe it was French people, to chase off rabbits and stuff like that were eating their crops. Very fast, could stop on a dime, corner curve, and he was an amazing little dog. And he was just like that dog in the movie. Like, he was kind of frilly when he sat down, he'd cross his paws in front of him. And he didn't need to be on a leash, he would just walk around with you and stuff. I mean, he was 7 pounds, he didn't go very far. He always, he'd walk a couple of feet and turn around and look at you. And, he was pretty easy to take care of. He was pretty independent, but just loved you to death. And so when I moved to Maryland, well, when me and my ex broke up, I got custody of Nikko and Lucky. They came with me. We also had a pug named Chloe that went with her. So, and Nikko and Lucky were best friends. I mean, they were super close. So, of course, Lucky was going to go with me, so Nikko's coming with me too. Plus, neither one really liked my ex, so whatever. It is what it is. But, so when I moved to Maryland, of course, Lucky had passed away, but Nikko and Bruno came with me. And we were outside one day, and all of a sudden he was, he was going to the bathroom, he was taking a piss, and all of a sudden he screeched, like tried to flip over in the yard. He was acting all fucked up. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with him? He was squealing and squeaking, and I brought him in the house, and he was like whining, and like he had this look on his face like somebody was fucking trying to, tear his insides out. I was like, what the fuck? I had no idea what to do, so I took him to the vet. They did an x-ray. Now, meanwhile, these x-rays and shit were like $1,100 to get him fucking treated with these x-rays and stuff. And they found a kidney stone that was blocking his urethra, and when he tried to pee, it hurt. Now they're like, it's too big for him to pass. He can't pee. He's in a lot of pain. You have to have this surgery done. And it was like fucking $3,000 for this surgery. And that was like, for the basic things. If there was other things that he needed, it could be more. And at the time, I just moved down here. I'd spent a whole shitload of money moving, didn't have anything in the bag, had fucking nothing. And I was like, well, what do we do? And they were like, you have 2 choices. You can either do this or let it ride out, give him some pain medication, but it could kill him. Yeah, you know, there could be complications due to this, like infection and stuff, and then eventually you may just have to put him down. Like, you may have to have him killed or, you know, euthanize him. It's like, what the fuck? I'm like, he said, you gotta be shitting me. I'm like, I just don't have the money. I'm like, do I take out a loan? What do I do? You know, and I said, well, you know, and they're like, well, we can't do it tonight or anything anyways. You'd have to go to this hospital and have it done here and make the appointments. Meanwhile, the poor guy's in pain. They give him some painkillers. And, you know, he can't pee. So now I'm saying, fuck, man, you know, I don't know what to do. So I go home and I call my parents. So I'm like, maybe they have some kind of solution. So I call my mom. She's like, you know what? I have a friend who's a naturopathy vet who deals with animals with natural means. Let me call her and I'll call you back and we'll see what we can get figured out. Now, in the meantime, while I'm waiting for my mom to call, I take Bruno, I go in the bathroom, and I sit down on the floor. I lock the door so that my girlfriend at the time couldn't hear or see me. And I start talking to him because I realize I don't have the money. And at the time, my credit wasn't very good, so I wasn't going to be able to get a $4,000 loan from the bank. Considering I just started working the job at Gold's Gym, it wasn't making much yet, so I had really no way to prove that I had the income to be able to get the loan. It was a bad situation all the way around. And now I'm sitting there going, man, what about a loan shark? Maybe I could, you know, I got enough shady motherfuckers I know, you know, that probably have a big enough heart to let me borrow money for, you know, the dog. And I'm like, how the fuck am I going to pay that? A million things are running through my mind, and I'm sitting there going, the easiest thing is just to put him down. He won't be in pain, you know, and then I'm sitting there going, but he has so much life left in him, it doesn't make any fucking sense. I can't do this. And I mean, I remember being in that spot. I was in that spot. Luckily, my mom called back and said, go to the vitamin store and get colloidal silver and vitamin C and start giving them the colloidal silver and vitamin C right away. It's about $8 worth of product. And I'm like, Ma, this is fucking retarded. This is not going to work. I'm like, the dog's going to be in pain. She's like, just do it. Go to the store, get an oral syringe, start giving the colloidal silver and what do you call it? The vitamin C liquid. In a matter of days, he was fine. Completely fine. 100% fine. Acting like himself, not in any pain, didn't have to give him the pain medication anymore. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is crazy. So I call my mom back. She's like, yeah, you know, it should have shrunk up the thing. He might have passed it by now. And if at any point he will pass, I'm like, what the fuck? This is crazy. The doctor had no idea about it whatsoever. So I take him back to the vet for a checkup. And the doctor's like poking him and feeling him and stuff. And he's like, he's not in any pain. You know, like, it appears that this thing is gone. And he was dumbfounded. He's like, you know, I've heard of natural means, but I don't really buy into it. They were going to cut him open and go after this little piece of calcium, calcified fucking whatever was in there, you know, or they were going to fucking, you know, tell me to put him down when all it took was $8 worth of these fucking natural supplements to cure him. Now, you know, I look back now and $8 worth of supplements gave him another 6 or 7 years on his life healthy. Before Nikko was, as he started to get older, obviously his teeth were bad, which happens to all dogs. But he went blind. I think he could hear a little bit when, you know, the time came to put him down. But he had dementia. He couldn't hold his pee, so we had a diaper on him. Me and Kari changed his diaper about 7 times a day each. Put Desonex on him, put baby powder, changed the diaper on him all the time. And then one night he had a seizure. So we're laying in bed. He slept in the bed with us. And Kari went to go to the bathroom, and he just sat up and locked up and foamed at the mouth and turned bright red and got warm, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I knew something was happening. So I'm trying to hold him. I'm yelling for her. She comes in. I said, we need to get him to the vet right away. Kari called, you know, right away. She got on the phone, called the emergency vet. He went limp and relaxed, but he was still breathing. I'm like, okay, he's alive. And he was all banged up, like fucking looked, you know, tired. And brought him in there, and they figured out he had a seizure. He's a 15-year-old Brussels Griffon. Something's wrong with his brain. To do these tests and stuff were going to be a ridiculous amount of money. So they medicated him with phenobarbital to make sure that he didn't have seizures. And about 2 weeks later, he had a stroke. And I watched it. Like, I was trying to give him his medication. He stressed out. He stroked out. It was never the same again. At that point, Kari and I were leaving, like, in 2 weeks for Mexico for vacation. And I said, he's not doing well. I don't know what to do. I really don't want to leave and have him pass away when we leave. I feel like I need to be responsible and be there for him. So, you know, we kind of sat on it for a couple of days, and as I watched him get worse and worse and worse and not really even get up other than, you know, to try to go to the bathroom, he wasn't even doing that very much, and he wasn't eating. And people always say that you'll know. They say, you know, you'll know when it's time. And I was like, no, I don't know. I don't understand. This is so hard. I don't get it. This is one of my best friends. Him and Bruno are my best friends. I feel like I'm going to kill him if I have to. You know, I can't kill him. I can't put him down. Until I saw the weakness in his eyes and the sorrow in his eyes one morning. And I said, I know. This is it. This is the time. You know, he's not happy. He's in a lot of pain. He's not doing well. And this is the best he's going to be. So I sat down and made a checklist of all the things that were wrong with him. And there was like 10 things when I finally looked at it. I said, Jesus Christ, I can't believe it's happened like this. This much has happened, but one thing at a time happens, and you adapt with him. You take care of him until so many things are done that it's just time. So Kari and me made a print of his paw like one Sunday afternoon. We went to Target and got a ink pad. Made a print of his paw. That Tuesday, in the morning, we got up and we took him to the vet, and we went in the room with him, and we put him down. The vet gave him the drug, and he died. And then they put him all together, and I brought a box to put him in. They wrapped him up, and they tied a little bow on him with this little cross that I had and stuff, and we took him home and we buried him. And then I got the tattoo on my arm like a week or two later, you know, of his paw. That's the paw that's on my arm that you guys see on my left arm. And that spot on my left arm where it sits is where I was holding him and where I used to hold him. I kind of hold him like a football. And his paw would just kind of rest on my arm, and that's where it would sit, in that exact position. And that's where he was that morning when we drove him in to put him down. He was in my arms. I was wearing my gray sweatshirt. I'll never forget it. My gray hooded sweatshirt. Kari was driving. That's where his little paw was. And even the shading on my tattoo where his paw is was where the light was coming from that morning, the sun, causing where the shade would be on that area. So you see, that tattoo has a fuckload of meaning to me, and is a tribute to my little buddy who, you know, I was there with him till the very, very last breath, which was my responsibility. But, you know, I understand where Pete is at, and, you know, I get it. And that's why I donated, and that's why I reposted the stuff. So that's Nikko's story. I don't know if you guys, how in depth I've gone with him before, or you guys may have heard me talk about him, but that's his story. I'm in the gym now, and great, now I'm all fucking bummed out. I forgot to take my pre-workout when I left the house. I'm going to try to do back and arms. This ought to be good. BioStraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is the blog, and where animals are just like people, and they love you too. And we're out.